Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Independence Day episode of Divorce and Beyond. What I decided to do is to turn this Independence Day episode, it actually comes out on Monday, July 3rd, on our usual schedule of Mondays. But what I wanted to do is turn this into something special to celebrate freedom. So I've turned this one episode into 5 special daily mini episodes. So this week, Monday through Friday, every day, there's going to be a special mini episode with me, and I'm going to be busting one of the top 5 divorce myths each day. The reason I decided to do this is that when you believe these divorce myths, which can be so pervasive in our society, you sometimes are going to make these assumptions that certain things about your divorce are destined to happen, or it's certain to be a certain way. And when we make assumptions, right, what is it that they say? First, you make an ass out of you and me. I know the old joke. But the other thing that we do is sometimes we just feed into those assumptions, and what did not have to be becomes truth because we believed it. So this week is all about freeing you from that paradigm. So this week, we're going to be celebrating America's freedom and yours from the 5 top divorce myths. But before I get started, I want to have a few words from one of my favorite sponsors. They've been with us from day one. They're all about freedom for parents when there are substance use issues in place and there are concerns regarding the safety and welfare of children. So here's a few words from SoberLink. Thriving in divorce and beyond means not having to worry about the safety of your children when it comes to co-parenting. With alcohol abuse on the rise, many co-parents are turning to the system committed to providing proof, protection, and peace of mind. SoberLink's alcohol monitoring system is the most convenient, reliable, and reasonable way for a parent to provide evidence that they are not drinking during parenting time. SoberLink's real-time alerts, facial recognition, and tamper detection ensure the integrity of each test so you can be confident your kids are with a sober parent. With SoberLink, judges rest assured that your child is safe, attorneys get court-admissible evidence of sobriety, and both parents have empowerment and peace of mind. Pull back the curtain on the mysteries of parenting time and trust the experts in remote alcohol monitoring technology to keep you informed and your kids safe and secure. To download the resource I created with SoberLink, Divorce and Addiction, A Guide to Move Forward, visit www.soberlink.com/Susan. Hello, and welcome to the Divorce and Beyond podcast. I'm Susan Guthrie, your host. As a top divorce attorney and family law mediator for 30 years, I know what you need to know to get through your divorce, and most importantly, how to move beyond it to thrive and transition to your new future. My experts and I are here to give you the insider view into the process, so listen in for the wisdom and expert information you need on your journey through divorce and beyond. Okay, so let's dive right in on day 1. We're going to bust 5 myths this week about divorce. So in no particular order, for today, Monday, July 3rd, the very first myth we're going to bust is that divorce is always war. So I think that this myth that as I did my research, there is a presumption among everyone, and there's a lot of good reason for this. I'll talk about that in a second. But much of the time, people think that the minute that they are getting divorced, it means that there's going to be a bitter, contentious legal battle. And the reality of divorce is there are so many different ways that we can approach the process if we know enough as we go into it that how our divorce will play out is not preordained. Divorce does not have to mean war. So I want to talk about the different ways that you can avoid having a contentious, nasty divorce. But first, let's talk about the definition of this myth, because it really is pretty pervasive. It's actually a really good thing, I think, that we are starting with this as our first myth to debunk. So this myth that divorce is always going to be a bitter and contentious legal battle is that it's assuming that it's going to be adversarial. Everyone's going to fight over everything, including the custody of the children, the division of their assets, alimony and spousal support. It's also going to assume, or makes the assumption, that divorce proceedings are going to be long, drawn out, expensive, and emotionally draining. And the reality check for this one is, in most cases, that is not true. One or a few of those may be true, and at times, certain aspects of all those negative comments that I just made might be true. But in general, there's a study and a report from the American Bar Association that shows that more than 95% of divorce cases are settled out of court, meaning that those cases, the parties were able to reach an agreement without the need for a lengthy legal battle, right? It means that somehow those two spouses were able to come to agreements on all of the issues that they needed to cover in their divorce. And that includes all those things that I was talking about a minute ago, right? The custody of their children, support, division of their assets. It's only a very small percentage of cases, actually less than 5%, that need a judge to make those final determinations. So in that myth where it's going to be a contentious, angry, lengthy legal battle, the reality is very, very few turn into a legal battle. The other thing that I think is really important for people to know is that how you go into your divorce, how you enter the divorce process, has a great deal to do with how your process is going to unfold. So very often, people in the beginning time of divorce, right? Either you've decided it's time for a divorce, or you're on the flip side of that paradigm usually, and you have been told your spouse wants divorce. This is probably the most emotionally difficult time in the divorce process. And it's also when the divorce process gets started for so many people. So one of the big mistakes that people make are they dive in out of anger, fear, feelings of hurt and betrayal, whatever those, predominant difficult emotions are in that moment, and they start their divorce that way. And so they will run out, try to protect, and if you can't see me, but I'm making little air quotes around protect. People hire the Barracuda attorney to protect them. They act aggressively. They do things out of hurt or anger, get into arguments with their spouse, make presumptions that this is going to be a litigious case. And frankly, how you start is how you mean to go, or how you end up going. Very often, if you start your divorce off on bad terms, you've set up the rest of your divorce to continue that way, because there's nothing about the process when you start it in an adversarial manner that's going to get easier as you go along. So one of the things that I think is important, and something that the 95% plus of people who manage to resolve their divorce without having to go to court are able to do, is find other ways to resolve their divorce, other methods of coming to that agreement. One of the really, I think, most effective ones, as you all know, I'm a mediator. I truly think that mediation is a very effective way for people to work with a neutral third-party mediator whose job it is to support them both equally, or give them both the support that they need so that the parties, can come to a mutually agreeable settlement. And because it's voluntary and no one is compelled to do things in mediation, people are making free choices that work best for them. They have a third party, neutral, who's there to help them have these difficult conversations, work on that communication that often is really challenged, especially when emotions are high. And again, because it is voluntary, if in the beginning people are feeling upset and feeling angry and feeling that high emotion, people can agree to sort of put things on hold or only deal with the issues that need to be dealt with immediately, so that we can, I call them Band-Aid agreements, the agreements so that we can hold things together where everybody gets their emotional content pulled together, works with a coach, a therapist, gets their team pulled together, starts to feel supported in the process so that they can come to the table, the mediation table, and work together as best they can with support, with help, with their emotions under control as much as possible so that they can move forward. Because one thing that I know, as having been in this divorce world as both a divorce attorney and a divorce mediator, is although emotions are really high in the beginning of the divorce, if you can start your divorce off on the right foot, very, very often, most of the time, as the process proceeds and progresses, the emotions wane. All that difficulty, the anger, the hurt, it starts to fade. If there's nothing that continues to keep working it up. But if you start your divorce on an adversarial basis, filing motions, being aggressive with each other, being nasty in a litigation process, all you keep doing is poking the fire. You keep that fire going, and those are the divorces where the fire just continues to grow and grow and grow. So one of the most important keys to having that amicable divorce is how you start that process off. Mediation's one possibility. Knowing there are other possibilities is also really beneficial. Another truly helpful way to have what I call a transformative divorce experience is to enter into the collaborative divorce process. And that is a process where you will both hire your own attorney, so you will have an attorney representing you in the process, but they are attorneys with special training who there's an agreement that you are not all going to go to court and act aggressively. In fact, you're all going to come to the table with other specialized and trained professionals, usually a financial professional and someone with some mental health training who will act as a coach. Again, someone to help you as your mediator might with the communication elements. And the group together supports the couple still, again, just like in mediation, to make agreements that are mutually agreeable to both of them.
Hey everyone. Lisa Koski was recently my guest on the show in a popular episode entitled Doing Divorce Different, because there isn't just one way. And now she's back to help you co-parent in a better way with an online parenting course that helps you to create a comprehensive parenting plan that works for your family. So if you are terrified that divorce will ruin your child, this course is going to help you get a plan that works. You're going to learn how to create a parenting plan that meets the unique needs of your family. You'll understand the terminology of parenting plans and how they are used in the legal process. You'll learn strategies for effective communication and conflict resolution with your co-parent. And you'll get guidance on addressing common challenges and issues that arise in co-parenting. You can find the program at lisakoski.com/online-parenting-course and use the code PARENTS10 for 10% off.
And those mutually agreeable agreements are usually things that I call it the win-win. It's where the two of you get to choose the best of what you can live with and what you can't live with. So moving into either a mediative or collaborative divorce are two options for getting through this. And there are just so many benefits to resolving your divorce amicably. And both of these methods being part of that 95% plus who managed to resolve their divorce. Number one benefit, it's going to save you time and money. The more contentious your divorce is, and this is, I don't know a case where this is not true. The more contentious your divorce is, the longer it will take and the more money it will cost you. Legal battles are expensive. They're very, very expensive. At the end of the time that I was handling litigation cases, I was charging between $595 and $695 an hour. And that's whether you were sending me emails, talking to me on the phone, or I was sitting in a courthouse or a conference room on your behalf. Legal representation in a litigation setting is extremely expensive. And because it takes a long time, you're going to continue to pay that money out over a long period of time. So you can save a lot of money and a lot of time if you can resolve your divorce amicably through mediation, through collaborative divorce, through your attorneys working reasonably together to negotiate a settlement, not posturing in a litigation mindset. Right? And the second thing that you should know about a benefit of an amicable divorce is that it can be much less stressful and emotionally draining. I'm not going to tell you that it won't be a difficult time. That I don't lie to you, listeners, you know that. But when you can go through the process as amicably as possible, it is going to reduce the stress and emotional burden. And I've already described some of that to you, right? Although you may start your divorce process out with really high emotions, if you are not doing nasty things to each other through a litigation process, those emotions can calm down and aren't continually reignited by poking the bear, filing nasty motions, making unreasonable demands. So it's a way that you can really move that divorce forward. And as your emotions are not constantly being tweaked and raised and everyone's getting upset over and over again and more upset, the divorce, again, will move faster and will be much less expensive. So that amicable resolution will help you save money, save time, reduce stress, and reduce your emotional burden. And the biggest benefit of all of those is when your divorce is over, and you've heard me say this to you all before, divorce is a finite time in your life. It does not last forever, and it's your beyond, divorce and beyond, it's your beyond that you really want to get to. And your beyond is going to be better if you're able to have that amicable divorce, because you will not have destroyed yourselves financially, emotionally, dragged that finite period of time out for 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 8 years, 10 years that can happen in a truly litigious case. And your children will not have been harmed and damaged. And you're going to be much more capable of having a reasonable co-parenting relationship in your beyond. So I can urge you, especially if you are at the beginning of your divorce process, that it's very important to know that it is totally a myth that divorce has to be war, that divorce has to be a long, drawn-out court battle. 95% or more of you have managed to do it a different way and a better way, and that means you can too. So there are some episodes of Divorce and Beyond that I think you would find helpful if you want more information on this. In fact, last week's bonus episode, it was a bonus replay episode of the number 2 divorce episode ever with the amazing Kate Anthony. It's called We Need to Talk, how to have the most difficult conversation of your life. It's all about how to tell your spouse that it's time to get a divorce. And going back to what I said earlier in this mini episode, how you start your divorce has so much to do with how your divorce is going to play out over time. There's also episode 297 with my friend and amazing leading attorney, Beth McCormick, all about the eye-opening insights on how to do divorce right. If there's anyone out there in this world who can give you top tips for how to do divorce right, it's Beth. Listen to 297. And then there's how to have an amicable divorce with the founder of the Amicable Divorce Network, Tracy Moore Grant. That's episode 245. And there are many more on mediation, collaborative law. Go look through the archive. I'll link to these 3 so that you can find them easily. And be sure to start your divorce off right. And know that if you're going down the wrong road, it is possible to pull it back. It is possible to pull it back from the precipice of hardcore litigation and war. Talk to your attorney. Talk about taking it to mediation. You can go to mediation at any point before you get to trial, and you can definitely pull back from the edge and have that amicable divorce. So I hope you enjoyed the number 1 myth-busting mini episode. Tune in tomorrow, Tuesday, which is actually July 4th, for day 2 in this special holiday week of bonus mini episodes. And I'm going to bust the next myth about divorce and hint here it's all about your kids. So tune in tomorrow. I'll see you then. Thank you for joining me today on the Divorce and Beyond podcast. I hope you found some information and inspiration to help you on this journey. Please join me every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a new episode. And if you like the show, please take the time to subscribe and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. You can also find more information on the website at divorceandbeyondpod.com, where you'll find links to the YouTube channel, transcripts of the episodes, and other bonus content. So I'll see you next week to help you move through your divorce and beyond.